Story 1. I found my father's confession letter 9 years after his death. I am in tears. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thanks. My father passed away 9 years ago due to a combination of health complications. I didn't keep much of his things after I cleaned out his apartment. The only thing I took was a fire-safe lockbox. I was afraid to open it because of what I might find, for my dad's apartment was filled with a lot of things that I wasn't expecting. Yesterday, while organizing my closet, I couldn't stop staring at the box, and for the first time I opened it. At the top were a bunch of expired credit cards and bank statements. At the very bottom was a manila envelope. I opened it up and it contained a picture of a toddler that looked like me but wasn't, and a 2-page letter in his handwriting. The first page was more or less information about his life that I already knew. The second page is what got me. The boy in the picture was my older brother that I never knew about. In the letter, he confessed to me that he and the mother had decided that she would raise the boy in another state. My older brother and his mother, according to the letter, died a year after that picture was taken in a car accident. He never mentally recovered or truly grieved. He met my mom a year and a half after my brother's death, and they got married within the next year. I understand now why my dad had such a hard time showing me affection for so long, and why he fell into the bad habits he had helped shorten his life. He was a man in pain, not only from his traumatic childhood, that's a whole other post, but losing your firstborn son. I haven't cried this much in years. It brought out the suppressed tears and pain I have felt for losing him years ago. How I wished he had told me all of this while he was living, and how I could have helped if possible. Despite it all, I love my dad, I miss him, and I finally have some clarity and closure why he was the way he was. I just wanted to get this off my chest. Story 2. My grandma passed away this morning in the hospital. I just called her to hear her voicemail, and I regretted my grandma and I were super close. She was 87, I'm 18. She was in the ICU since Monday with congestive heart failure and an unknown lung problem, which made it very difficult for her to breathe. She was on 30 to 40 liters of 100% pure oxygen, which is a ton of air, plus the air we breathe is only about 20% oxygen. She was also on 3 different medications for her heart and lung problems, which she could only receive in the ICU. Yesterday, the doctor told us that there was really nothing more they could do for her, and that every medication she was on was only prolonging life, but she wasn't getting better. At around 5 p.m., my grandma began receiving morphine and her 4 medications were removed, and from there the amount of oxygen she was on was gradually turned down. She passed away at 7 a.m. this morning. I am absolutely heartbroken. I got to go see her body and say goodbye to her an hour after she died, but she had already begun to go cold. It's been 5.5 hours since she died, but it already feels like an absolute fucking eternity. I miss her so much, but at the same time, I'm so relieved and overjoyed for her that she's not suffering anymore. I called her just to hear her voicemail, and it was such a mistake. I thought it would be comforting, but it only made everything hurt worse. I'm an idiot for doing that, I know. I did this to myself by listening to it, but all I want is to see her again, one last time, even though I had to proper, very precious and sincere goodbyes with her. I know there are many people who would kill to be able to say goodbye to their dying loved ones, let alone to separate times. But I'm greedy and selfish because I wish I could have one last conversation with her. This pain is so confusing, and even more than that, it's absolutely gut-wrenching to go through. Update, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone so much for all the kind words and support. It means the absolute world to me and my family to read through these comments. I'm going to get a tattoo of her name in her own handwriting, with some of her ashes mixed in with the ink. I'm also going to record her voicemail and keep it forever. I've already started saving all the voice messages I have of her, and my family is doing the same. Once more, thank you so much to everyone for providing such love and support. Story 3. I'm considering flushing my mom's ashes down the toilet. She's just bitching at me still from the closet. It's been 18 months since she passed. I do miss her, but I miss moments, not entirely her. She was an addict. I don't blame her for that. I have had my own struggles. But she was also an adulterer. A thief. She was also passive-aggressive and mean as shit. If she was unhappy with you, she might invite 20 kids over for a party and give all of them 3 little presents each and you socks and a toothbrush. On other instances, she's give you $300 in cash as an 11-year-old going on a gate field trip. She wasn't bipolar. She had issues but was in therapy for as long as I remember. She was mean. She'd give you Vicodin for headaches as a 12-year-old. Make fun of your penis at Thanksgiving at grandma's. Call your sister fat and her breast peach pits at the same table. She flat out said in front of us, I never should have had children. Now her ashes sit above my t-shirts. She wanted her ashes in a certain place that I have to get a permit for. Why? Her dead-ass body will never know. And if I flush her here, the water will get expelled to farms and orchards, and she will benefit life for once. But I still hesitate because I feel like it makes me somewhat evil. I just know I'm tired of looking at that velvet bag with her in it and feeling like she's telling me you shouldn't wear that to work. It's just not how you should style yourself. Story 4. I hate that I love my wife. I 30 meters am currently overwhelmed with negative emotions and lost all hope of dealing with my situation. I have been with one woman for the past 11 years and married for 8 years. I feel so emotionally neglected I can no longer even be present next to her. I know many of you will think I'm talking about sex, but I'm talking about everything. Kissing, touching, hugging, talking, sharing time, having shared interests, doing something together, intimacy, everything. If anything of the above mentioned ever happens, it is because I always initiate it. I'm always the one asking, begging and reminding her that this is something I want to do with her. I am always the one asking only to receive one of her eye-rolling facial expressions before she does what I ask. I honestly can't play this game anymore. I feel like a rapist forcing her into stuff she doesn't want, and this feeling absolutely disgusts me. This has been like this from the beginning, and while I originally blamed it on we are both learning this love stuff, this never changed. I talked with her about all of this so many times. What can I do differently? How can I improve? Do you feel stressed or uncomfortable around me or anything that I can do for you? Every time it was the same answer, everything okay, followed by me being called hyper needy and that no normal person needs all of this. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. We go weeks without kissing unless I initiate. The last time she told me I love you without me asking her first was on our wedding night. Our conversations are so one-sided they might as well be called monologues, and I hate this. I never know what happens in her life. No amount of how is your day or how are you feeling will help her share her stories. The only reason I know anything about her is when she is around her friends, because around them she always has something to tell. And I'm not some man-child that deserves to be disgusted by someone. I cook breakfasts every day and do cooking on weekends, take care of the outside of the house and walk our dog. Know how to do basic maintenance and do extra income jobs in my free time. I make 3x more than her while supporting her refugee mother and technically never see my money by the end of the month. I go to the gym and have about a dozen close friends with whom I spend time together. I feel so much more emotionally unwinded after spending time with them and after work than I do at home, where I feel like I torture her. But I don't want to torture her. I really love her. I want her to be happy, and I always wanted to be that good boyfriend and husband for my special woman. I read and heard so many horror stories about horrible, abusive boyfriends, and I wanted to be different. I wanted to be someone she could be comfortable and safe with, but I feel like everything I'm doing is achieving the opposite. I want to change all of it, but our communication is so bad that she always shuts down and this goes nowhere. And even if I continue pushing this conversation, she starts threatening to divorce me. We talked about couple therapy, and this was declined as well. I'm not a quitter. I love her and want to be with her. But after another emotionally dead night and receiving a nasty comment that no woman would want to sleep with me, so I should not bargain with my last option, it was one of those jokes she loves to do. I no longer can handle this. If there was a potion that would 100% unlove this person, I would drink it immediately. I'm completely emotionally broken. I want to be loved, and even more so I want to understand what am I doing wrong. Story 5. Today I screwed up by getting tested to donate a kidney to my wife. I decided to get tested to see if I could donate my kidney to my wife of 6 years. We have 2 kids together for 2 meters. My wife got sick just after our son was born and now is in need of a kidney transplant. We checked with her relatives and none were a match or a viable donor. Last week I got tested. I knew it would be a long shot, so I decided to get tested to see if I could donate. I got a call the other day saying that I was a match. The doctor then said something about wanting to do additional testing due to some information from the HLA tissue test results. I didn't think much of it and agreed. Then the results came in. I was shocked and confused. He explained that because of how DNA information is passed down through generations, a parent to a child could have at least a 50% match. Siblings could have a 0 to 100% match. It was rare to have a high match as husband and wife. I asked, what does that mean? He said that my wife and I have an abnormally high match percentage. Long story short, we're related. No, I'm not kidding. I was put up for adoption before I was born, placed into a family that moved across the country. I know I was adopted, but we didn't have any information about my bio family. It was a closed adoption. I met my wife by chance 8 years ago. I was on a trip from work and she was working at the site I went to. We worked together for a week. We exchanged numbers, kept in touch. I was sent back there 3 more times that year, and each time we became closer. I was given the opportunity to be transferred out there in a new higher paying position in a different department. As hers, the rest is history. I don't know what to do moving forward, but I know it may be wrong. She is my wife and the mother of our kids. This post is probably going to get removed, but it is all true. TL, doctor, wife of 6 years, needs a kidney. I got tested, and we have an abnormally high match percentage for being husband and wife. Edit. Look at name. All of my family is from my adopted parents. My parents adopted me 2 minutes after I was born. Their name is on my birth certificate. They have not told me anything about my bio parents and don't have any info. Her family is not a match as stated above. Most of her family has low match potential or can't donate due to medical or other reasons. I am 2 years older than my wife. I do know that my wife was born when her parents were late teens. Story 6. Today I screwed up by telling my boss I was interested in their second job offer. I work part-time in retail. While on my lunch I was playing Fire Emblem Heroes on my phone. My boss walked by and expressed interest in it, so I gave a basic rundown. They pulled out their tablet and I foolishly asked if they play any kind of mobile games on it. They went on to tell me they use it for their business and claimed they made plenty of money from it. I told them, wow, that's pretty cool. I just work here and then take care of things at home. That was the end. Or so I thought. Skip to yesterday, and while I was scrolling Reddit I received a text from my boss. It's not super unusual, as often they will message to ask if someone can cover a shift. I opened the text and it was an offer to work for their second job. I asked for details and they invited me to a video call meeting to discuss it. Now we reach today. I cleaned the room, am going to have the video call and get out of my pajamas and into some decent clothes and troubleshoot my audio and video before the meeting comes. The boss shows up as cheerful as they are on the clock. They pull up a PowerPoint and begin their presentation. The presentation is incredibly bare bones in graphic design, looking like something made in the early 2000s. The boss tells me about how they want to hire me to work. I ask the hours and they say 45 minutes to 30 hours a week if you want. I would be your coach. At this point I start to get a bad feeling, but I push it aside because most small businesses are desperate for help. They then go on to talk about how they would hire me and then I would hire someone else, and that each person would get a cut of what their hired employees earned. The meeting turned into the Soviet Union with how many red flags were flying when they mentioned that I would need to buy an expensive training to start and that I would need to get relatives, friends to sign up for their services. Realizing that my boss was trying to drag me into something shady, I told them I'd think about it and we ended the call. I wasted 35 minutes of my precious lifespan watching an MLM presentation. TL, doctor, made small talk with boss during my lunch and they tried to convince me to sign up for their MLM. Story 7. That's illegal. Just because he's okay with it doesn't mean you should sell it to him. Hi TFR, I have enjoyed reading this thread for a while. Now making my first post. This happened about 7 years ago. I worked for one as a sales rep for one of the larger phone carriers in the U.S. It was a slow night and the store was empty when this guy came in. He wanted to upgrade his phone 1P1, which he had just got 2 months ago on monthly payments. He also was not on our upgrade program. He had already decided he wanted phone to P2. At this point he owed about $550 on P1 and the trade-in value was only about $100. Yeah, trade was horrible rates at the time. I told him about this and he said he didn't care. He then went on for 10 minutes bragging about how he just got a raise, is making crazy money, he can afford to buy 5 of the P2. I just sat there listening to him. I then told him that I wouldn't recommend trading in P1 because he would still have to making monthly payments on the remaining balance, plus another monthly payment for P2, which was more expensive phone. I should note he wasn't the primary on the account, his wife was, but he was authorized. I asked if his wife would be okay with it and he said he didn't need her permission to do what he wants. He ended up trading in P1 and getting P2, plus he spent over $400 on accessories. All along I continued to recommend that he not do this. Before making the sale or trade-in, I got my manager involved, so he could talk to the customer and make sure the customer understood what he was doing. In all I told him 7 times not to do it, plus my manager twice. He He still did it. So after the sale, following the SIA procedure, I made notes in the account detailing everything that happened. Fast forward 2 days, the store gets a call and they ask for me. It was customer service, who had the wife on the phone, who wanted to talk to me. I'll be me, the wife will TW, and customer service will be CS. Me. Thank you for calling store name, this is my name. CS. Hi, I have TW on the phone and she wanted to talk about the sale you made to her husband. Me. Okay, what can I do? Are you TW? TW. Do you think what you did was okay? Me. I'm sorry, what was that? TW. Do you think what you did was okay? Taking advantage of my husband. Me. I'm not sure what you mean. TW. You convinced my husband to buy a new phone and you took his 2-month-old phone and gave him basically nothing for it. Me. I understand. Ma'am, I informed your husband many times about what would happen and recommended multiple times that he should not do that. TW. Raising her voice, that is bad business and unethical. You should not have sold him anything. I am a business owner and I would never take advantage of a customer the way you did. If you knew it was a bad idea, it's your job not to sell it. Me. Mom, I made cuts me off TW. Seriously, what you did is just unethical and wrong. Do you understand that? What you did is illegal. You can't sell it to him if you think it's wrong. Me. I know, cuts me off again. TW. You should not have sold it to him. We want the phone he traded in back. We are also returning all the accessories you sold him on. This is so messed up. I'm getting annoyed for being blamed for this. It's clear the husband told her a different story. I didn't mention to her. People do things like this at least once a month. Me. Okay. I made every effort to help your husband. He came into our store bragging about how much money he's making and how he can buy whatever he wanted, even 5 of these phones. That said, I even got my manager involved so he could hear it from someone else. You cuts me off. TW. Oh, even you manager was in on it. Wait until I talk to corporate about your store's unethical tactics. Me. Okay, TW. At this point there's nothing I can do for you on the phone. You can return the accessories, and if you'd look, you can talk to my manager about what happened when you get here. Anything else I can do for you? TW. Tell me why you sold the phone to him and thought is okay to do. Me. Ma'am, as I told you, you can discuss this with my manager when you get here. Anything else I can do for you? TW. Yeah, answer my last question. This is just bad business. Me. Once again, ma'am, there's nothing on the phone I can do for you. We will gladly help you in the store when you get here. Have a good day. Hang up. The one thing I was not going to tell her over the phone is that once her husband traded in the phone, there was not way to get it back, as all trade-ins are final. His trade-in phone was already shipped out. The couple came in later that day and she was pissed. The husband, however, didn't say a word. I'll skip the dialogue on this one because it way too long. Simply put, my manager backed me up the entire time he helped them return the accessories. I couldn't help myself and went over there and starting repeating everything that the husband had bragged to me about, and I even added the line about how he didn't need his wife permission. The look she gave him when I said that was the best redemption I could ever have. He tried blaming everything on me, and now I was able to bury him for it. After that, she lightened up a little. She then returned the new phone, removed his name as authorized user, and bought him a flip phone. This was a mobile post.